Welcome. This is Joshua Benoist with Autodesk Product Support. So this is video 3, where we're going to talk about the device block creation in AutoCAD MEP. Here's the customer's issue. I'll let you read that, and then we're going to jump straight in. Pause the video if you need to. So I was trying to give us the overall picture here with the annotative scale, and it's starting to take a little long, but long story short, you're drawing your model to full scale in model space. Paper space, it scales down with the viewport so that you can fit your model on paper. And annotations can be text, can be symbols. Most companies want, whether your text is drawn in model space or whether you're drawing your text in paper space, your sheet, your keynotes, things like that you draw in paper space, you want those text heights to be the same. Usually 1/8 inch or 3/16 inch. 3/32. And so when you've got viewports that are drawn at two different scales, if you've put your text in model space, if it's text in paper space, regardless of all these different scales that are going on there, you want them to come out to the same height so it looks nice and clean on paper. Well, if I'm drawing my text in model space, I need to be able to read it in model space. And if I'm drawing to full scale, and my full scale is being scaled down in my viewport, then I need my text also to be extra big to full scale so that it also gets scaled down in the viewport so that it comes out to 3/32 inch tall, just like the rest of the text that is drawn in paper space. So let's demonstrate that very briefly. These are important concepts, and it helps people to understand why these objects, your device symbols, your text, anything that's scaling annotatively, why it's coming in too big. So let's understand these concepts first, and then I'll show you how to make them. So let's draw some text here in paper space. Okay, that says 13/32. I don't know why. Let's just make it 3/32. Alright, so I'm just going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say OK. So I'm going to move this a little closer to my viewport, and I'm going to double click in my viewport, right click and say pan, and I'm going to move this up closer to my text. Exit, double click outside the viewport, make it inactive. Let's go back to model space real quick. And then something to notice, if you go into drawing setup, and in 2010 the way to get to that, you go to the big A, and it's one of these right here, drawing setup. Go to utilities and then drawing setup. And so here's our annotation scale. This is saying this is how we want our default scale in paper space to be. And our annotation plat size, this is saying, well, I want my text, ultimately when it's in paper space, to always be 3/32 inch. Default to 3/32. So if I'm drawing in model space, do whatever you need to do to that text. Make it bigger or smaller in model space, so that when it's seen through the viewport in paper space, it's at 3/32 inch tall and prints out 3/32 inch tall. Text that's drawn directly in paper space should default to 3/32 inch tall, or as you saw when I initiated mtext command there, it does tend to use whatever the last size